temporarily suspended the investigative activities to assess the government's deferral requests. In a statement, ICC prosecutor Karim Khan said the Philippines must submit concrete proof that it is taking steps to hold human rights violators in Duterte's war on drugs accountable. Recall that the government had earlier filed a deferral request where it claimed that efforts by the Justice Department to investigate the drug war was enough and does not need ICC's intervention. Malacanang also maintained that the judicial system is working and there is no culture of impunity in the country. Justice Secretary Minardo Guevara meanwhile said if the government allows, it will provide the information as may be needed. In the meantime, Guevara said the DOJ will focus on its own investigation. But for the lawyers of the families of some of the drug war victims, the investigation of the DOJ is not genuine at all. According to the National Union of People's Lawyers, only 52 drug war cases were reviewed by the DOJ.
Lacking in terms of quantity and quality. The DOJ investigation looks into killings, homicides, murder. Hindi niya sinisilip ang mga pag-aresto at iba pang human rights violations.
Attorney Cristina Conti also argued that the DOJ did not scrutinize all the findings reported in the drug war cases.
I don't think that the DOJ made contrary findings. Hindi niya tinalo, hindi niya binangga, hindi niya pinabulaanan yung findings ng IAS. Ginawa lang nilang matrix.
The NUPL is hoping that the ICC will not stop its investigation into the human rights violations in the country. Even the families of the drug war victims are praying that true justice will be served. For News 5, Camille Samonte, We Are One News.
A former defense secretary says the administration's handling of territorial disputes sends the wrong message to the country's allies. Speaking to 1PH, former Defense Secretary Orly Mercado said that the government should have continuity in its defense against the Chinese blockade in Philippine territory. He added that the promise of economic benefits touted by President Duterte is not enough to disregard China's continued presence in Philippine territory.
We have to be present there. Half of the battle is won. Lagi kong inulit, half of the battle is won by being there. We should really assert. We have to protect what is ours first.
Jeepney operators are finally getting a much-needed reprieve from the recent string of fuel price hikes in the country. This as the government released fuel subsidies to jeepney franchise holders nationwide. Jenny Dawn reports.
Mang Percy and his colleagues at the Mandaluyong City Jeepney Terminal were all smiles after receiving their Pantawid Pasada program or PPP card for fuel subsidy.
Malaking tulong talaga yun kasi ang mahal ng gas ngayon, tapos ang hirap ang biyahe dahil sa pandemic, 2 linggo.
Bakit 2 linggo lang, sir?
Kasi 1,000 isang araw, wala nang 1,000 ka eh. Ang ikakarga ko naman sa diesel yun, mga kahit palagay ko 800, 2 linggo. Yung 7K.
Yung malaking bagay na rin ho yung para sa 1 linggong hindi na kami magkukonsumo ng pandiesel namin. Meron na kaming nakalaan pandiesel talaga.
Saan nyo na pwedeng ilaan sana, sir, yung
papandiesel? Pangkain na lang po yun, pambili na ng pagkain, pandagdag sa pagkain. Hirap na hirap po. Pag hindi kami kumayod, walang kakainin.
The Development Budget Coordination Committee, or DBCC, allotted 1 billion pesos fuel subsidy for jeepney drivers nationwide. 136,000 valid franchise holders will benefit from the fuel subsidy for this year. Each of them will receive a PPP card containing 7,200 pesos. As of now, 85,000 jeepney drivers are active card holders. 78,000 of them already received the subsidy. The LTFRB are also coordinating with Land Bank to fast-track the release of the remaining PPP cards to qualified jeepney drivers. But the Bureau reminded beneficiaries to only use the cash assistance for fuel purchases.
We would like to reiterate that this is a fuel subsidy program, so the PPP card holders or our beneficiaries should exclusively use this card, the amount loaded in their cards exclusively to pay for fuel purchases at participating gas stations nationwide.
The PPP card is valid at the 9 participating gasoline stations nationwide. Beneficiaries are not allowed to withdraw the 7,200 pesos subsidy in cash. Some of jeepney operators already withdrew the 7,200 pesos and gave it to the drivers.
Binigay lang po sa akin ng operator, bahala na daw po ako sa magkrudo. Basta ikrudo ng ikrudo. Pagka wala ng krudo, ikrudo na lang. Ilagay lang ulit sa
Tapos,
sa jeep.
yung resibo ipunin, gano'n?
Opo.
Saan to ibibigay yung resibo?
Titignan po ng operator kung naikakarga ko nga po.
So dapat sir sa crudo lang talaga?
Oo.
Resibo na lang daw ang ipakita doon pag magdi-diesel kami, yung pera, ang resibo na lang ipakita namin.
Ano yun?
Hindi, bawat mag-crudo ako, resibo, ipunin ko resibo hanggang 7K.
Tapos,
Ayun, ipakita.
kayo nung ipapakita?
Sa LTFRB ata.
An LTFRB official warns that any violation on the use of the card will automatically disqualify the beneficiaries from the program.
Sa lahat ng mapapatunayan po na hindi nila taliwas yung paggamit nila sa what was intended for, na supposedly it's for fuel talaga. Yung iba dyan, kung i-withdraw nila sa mga ATM machines, we have a mechanism for that. We will be requesting Land Bank to provide us a copy.
For News 5, Jenny Dongon, We Are One News.
Economists believe that the country still has a long way to go to achieve economic recovery. But local CEOs are already feeling fairly optimistic about 2022. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez recaps day 1 of the BusinessWorld Economic Forum.
The Philippines' leading business paper, BusinessWorld, kicked off its two-day virtual economic forum with the theme Recovery Roadmap PH 2022 and beyond. Local and international experts came together to discuss how the country can start building back better post-pandemic. Bangko Sentral Senior Assistant Governor Iluminada Sicat underscored that the Philippine economy grew stronger than expected in 2021, with third-quarter GDP coming in at 7.1%. But economists say the road to recovery is long.
Given the depth of the downturn and the length of the shutdowns of the Philippine economy, the scarring is going to last for a while.
Cochrane says the country could return to pre-pandemic levels by the end of next year. One thing that ratings agency Fitch is watching very closely is next year's polls.
What kind of policies come up after the elections, that's the area that we'll be actually assessing.
Fitch previously warned of a potential rating cut for the Philippines because of high debt levels. Still, local CEOs like BPI's TG Lim Cauco and Meralco Powergen's Jimmy Azurin remain generally optimistic for 2022 as they see steady signs of recovery.
Mobility is actually back to pre-pandemic levels, at least in the NCR, right? Credit card billings are very close to pre-pandemic levels.
We are closely monitoring energy consumption. It's almost close to the 2019 or the pre-pandemic level.
BusinessWorld's Virtual Economic Forum 2021 will resume on November 25, where key topics like the digital economy transformation as well as cybersecurity will be discussed. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez, We Are One News.
Blackpink's youngest member, Lisa, has tested positive for COVID-19. The rest of the girls, Jisoo, Jenny, and Rosé, are awaiting the results of their swab tests. That's despite not being Lisa's close contacts. YG Entertainment says Lisa was diagnosed with COVID-19 on Wednesday afternoon. In an exclusive interview with News 5, Academy Award-winning actress Angelina Jolie shares her experience in portraying Thina, her character from Marvel Studios' Eternals. MJ Marfori gives us the details.
When you love something, you fight for it. This is the mantra Angelina Jolie and director Chloe Zhao came up for Jolie's character Thina in the highly anticipated Marvel film Eternals. In an interview with News 5, Angelina says she relates a lot with her Eternals alter ego.
It's not possible for me not to fight for someone. When I see an injustice and I think there's something I can do, I don't feel I can walk away from it as a person.
Angie found Thena's mental struggles challenging, and she had to dig deep to give justice to the role.
She's struggling with feeling very broken and overwhelmed, but where she is clear is what she fights for. And those who suffer and can be broken are also strong people because they are wrestling with something.
No wonder her kids approve of her character.
My kids did like this film, and that the character is the most like me. And I think that's because they've seen me at my worst. I can be pretty tough, but they saw her as she's quite human. She's kind of open.
Eternals will be showing in all Philippine theaters on December 1 after a limited release on November 29 and 30. For News 5, MJ Marfori, we are One News.
Here's a quick look at some of today's headlines. Senator Bongo says he's waiting for a sign from God on whether he'll withdraw his presidential bid. Lakas CMD officially adopts the BBM-Sara tandem as their standard bearers. And the Filipino broadcaster gets a pleasant surprise, a front row seat for BTS's performance in James Corden's Crosswalk musical. And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us later at 10:45 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.